Oh, hi there. SolarPrimal here. I'm just actually looking back at some of my nostalgia here, and wow, it's amazing how much use this book got, and I want to kind of talk about it. This is the official Pokemon Handbook. Like I said, this thing has a lot of miles on it. Like you'll see it in the close-up shots. Yeah, it's had a lot of use out of it, or I've had a lot of use out of it, more or less. Yeah, mine's got a lot of stuff on here. Like there's I don't know if you can see a Clifford stamp for some reason. I don't know why. And then first thing I saw when I opened up from the back, because that's how you read mangas. Yeah, there's my little my name at the back, Pokemon license. This is to certify that. Insert name here, has been officially recognized as a Pokemon trainer by the Pokemon League. So much nostalgia, and oh boy. Yeah, it's great. This was the first Pokemon book I actually ever owned, even before guides or anything like that. This one I saw at our local book fair in school, and I of course gravitated to it, and I don't know if there was a bunch of copies of these, but I definitely snatched up one myself. And yeah, this is great. This is a great little book. I believe I picked this book up around the time when the initial kind of hype of Pokemon, of say Red and Blue, was starting to kind of peter out, and most kids in my class were starting to just move on and be interested in other things, as where I was still very much wanted to stay connected with Pokemon. And so again, this book was one of those things that's like, I gotta have it, I want it. The anime was still going on, and some of us were keeping up with it, but it wasn't exactly something you can just talk about during school all the time. And usually when you got to, say, recess or lunch, no one really wanted to talk about that either. So I was kind of alone that way. Like, there was that time where everyone loved it, and then once it started to die out, either people didn't talk about it too much, or they had moved on. This book, despite the hype of Pokemon dying down, I got this to kind of keep up the hype, for myself at least. This is the Deluxe Collector's Edition that I picked up. There is a cheaper one that doesn't come with as much bells and whistles. I'm not actually sure what it doesn't have. When I've seen it, it's like much thinner than this one. Like, this book is pretty hefty. There's a lot. It shows the first like 150 Pokemon. What I loved about it was that it actually had pronunciation as well. So if you were ever in a debate with, say, a friend that insists that Pidgeot was actually pronounced as Pidgeot because the Pokerap ruined it. Oh, I would have lost that bet apparently. Oh no. It is Pidgeot. My life's been a lie. I've always called it Pidgeot. Oh boy, they better take back my trainer card now. It's got the pronunciations. Some are pretty self-explanatory. Of course, others need a little bit more depth with it. And then they go from that to the elements, the type of Pokemon it was, because that was actually significant back then. Then they go into the height, the weight, and some of the moves that they learn. At least ones that they're known for. Then they also show other techniques, which is nice. It's kind of inconsistent throughout the book, because some Pokemon will have a huge list of them and others don't. What really interested me was seeing the good against and the bad against, which for a 12-year-old me made a lot of sense. These days we use bigger words, but same rules still apply. Now, of course, these days we have more massive libraries online for Pokemon information, just like Bulbapedia, Survey.net, which I use both, because, yeah, if ever was like, oh, what info I need about this Pokemon, I can go there, or where do I catch this? I go there. So before the internet, I had this at my fingertips. So effectively gave myself an edge amongst my peers when it came to Pokemon knowledge, which at the time wasn't a big deal. Sometime last year, I was stricken with a bit of nostalgia while walking through one of our local bookstores. I so happened to come across this, which is the Deluxe Essential Handbook. So it's one edition behind, which I didn't know, but it just reminded me so much of this one that I was like, oh, they made a new one. Oh, good. And then I impulse bought this. And I haven't actually looked through it since I bought it. I think my nephew has either the same one or he has the Super Deluxe Essential Handbook, which has over 800 Pokemon, because this one only has 700. So yeah, I am a generation behind on this. I don't think this goes over any Sun and Moon Pokemon. I think this is actually restricted to going all the way to X and Y, which, oh boy, there is so much to look through on this. Do they do pronunciation still? Yes! Yes, they do. Thank goodness. Because, admittedly, there's some new Pokemon that I am really bad at the names of. So, again, this is, even in my older years, just as handy as it was when I was 12. Now, compared to the original edition, which is much thinner, this, for one, of course, is a much thicker book, but it also comes with a bit of a tease, or at least as what this book referred to as a sneak preview, where they've showcased one of the first official Generation 2 Pokemon of the time, and that was good old Togepi right there. And, again, this was around the time when Red and Blue had effectively petered out, and the hype for Gold and Silver was coming. This was a nice little middle ground for me that way. Definitely kept my enthusiasm for Pokemon to continue on onto Gold and Silver. And of course, our first official introduction, aside from Pika-Blue, was Togepi. And I think, for getting technical, Togepi was probably one of the first second generation Pokemon to show up in the anime, if you don't count Ho-Oh in the first episode. I just love some of these pronunciations. The Tent Cruel, Geodude. I don't know how I feel about Hitmonlee being pronounced Hitmonlee. Same with Hitmonchan. Or who could forget the biggest tongue twister, Seal. In researching for this video, I discovered that there was new additions to the Pokemon Handbook for every generation with updates on the newest Pokemon with every release. Currently, we're up to Sun and Moon with the Super Deluxe Essential Handbook with over 800 Pokemon listed. It's a little early to say when we're gonna see one for Sword and Shield, since we have DLC coming out later this year, so there's probably gonna be a lot more information to come with a new release of a handbook. Now, this is a much thicker book compared to the one I had originally gotten, so it's a lot more information to ingest. So I don't know if I'd be treating this thing almost like a Bible, where I memorize it front and back like I did with this one. But mind you, I had time back then to also memorize this, because let me tell you a bit of a story. In school, we usually had reading time first thing in the morning, at least in my grade 6 class, and we all had to pick a book to read. Most of my peers decided to pick a novel, or a short novel, a light novel if you will. I would always read this every single day. Even if I've already read it, I would read through it again and again and again, reading almost every single page, memorizing it to a T. That information, some of it retained, but there's still a lot in here. They even go over status afflictions, vitamins. There's a Q&A, and they actually go over what the badges do once you obtain them. Yeah, there's a lot, and then they actually cover, I think, all the gym leaders. Yeah, they do, and they actually show what Pokemon they have, or at least say what Pokemon they have. Yeah, this was a really in-depth guide, and then it kind of diverges into the anime a little bit. You know, trainer trivia. Now, something I didn't remember, which there's a checklist at the back of here for you to check off what Pokemon you've caught. Now, looking through, I did pretty dang good. With the exception of, for some reason, I'm missing Charmander and Charmeleon, but I have a Charizard. It doesn't sound right. I feel like I missed a few checks there. And what else am I missing? Magmar, Tauros, Vaporeon, Flareon, Omastar. I have Omanite. Could have done it. Snorlax, that's disappointing for me. Mewtwo, of course, and Togepi, because you couldn't get them before. So, oh, and there's an index if you actually wanted to figure out what page a certain Pokemon is on, but also what their number is at the same time. Anyways, really great book. Highly recommend. Obviously, much easier to ingest with just 150 Pokemon versus over 700. So, if you'll excuse me, I have a lot of reading to do. Oh boy. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to end the video right there. I actually want to start a discussion with all of you, and I want to know, do you own any of these? Any of these versions of the Pokemon Handbook? If you do, let me know in the comments down below. Tell me, what was your first version? Have you kept up with every single version? That would have been cool if I did. Didn't know that they kept releasing them. So, I wasn't really for one for bookstores myself. So, who knows, maybe it'll be a goal one day. I'll collect them all. Get all the handbooks. For no reason. It's all going to be the same information. Maybe a little bit more. Even. Oh! That was a lucky stop. Nice. Okay. But, yeah. Comment down below. What do you think of these? This is the Essential Handbook, but the first one was called the Official Pokemon Handbook. So, what do you think of these Pokemon Handbooks, just to generalize it? I think they're great, honestly. If you're into Pokemon and you just want to just dive into some information, just quick little tidbits about them, you know, I think that's cool, because that even shows you their evolutions and stuff. There's like different poses in here that I've never seen before, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So, highly recommend. But yeah, let me know down below, and subscribe for more videos about Pokemon, where we talk about Pokemon, and just stuff that they've done in the past, because I am enjoying this trip down memory lane. So, I hope you'll choose to join me on this journey. So, till then, you guys, this is SolarPrimal signing out, and bye for now.